A really common question we get asked in clinic is, should I use ice? I've just hurt myself, is ice a good thing? Or should I use heat? What do I do? And to some extent, it doesn't really matter, but there is some things that we want to talk about. The idea of icing injuries came about in, I believe, in the 1970s, when the term RICE was created, which any athlete has heard of: rest, ice, compression, elevation. Now, in recent years, the chap that actually created that term has come out and said, do you know what? I was wrong. We shouldn't be icing injuries. This is not the thing to do. Rest to some extent, and compression most definitely. But ice has now been taken away as a needed thing. And there's good reasons for that. Because if I have an injury, the thing that's going to help that heal is inflammation. And in order for the inflammation to get into the area, I need blood flow. And so if I roll my ankle and I immediately put some ice on it, I'm definitely going to reduce the pain, because I'm blocking the ability of blood to get in there by causing constriction of the blood vessels. It's not going to get as swollen and it's not going to hurt, but potentially it's not going to heal as well. Because temperature in general, whether it's cold or hot, acts like a pain block. In the nervous system, the signals that end up giving you pain and the signals that transmit temperature go along the same pathway. And if I overload that pathway with information about temperature, I can't feel the pain. When I'm in a hot bath, my back feels great. And as soon as I get out, it hurts again. It's never going to cause any lasting benefit. But when we use heat, at least what we're trying to do is open up the blood supply. So if I roll my ankle and I get it as hot as I possibly can, I put it in a bucket of hot water, believe it or not, for an hour, straight after, I'm going to flood the area with blood. I'm going to get all those inflammatory chemicals in there to start the healing process. The pain is one thing, but the healing is more important. And so we want to encourage, to some extent, the swelling in the extremely short term, to allow those chemicals to get there and to allow it to heal. So we're not an advocate of icing injuries at any point of your recovery, whether it be in the short term, an acute injury, or a chronic issue. Perhaps in a chronic issue, as I say that, ice could be used just as a painkiller, but heat is just as effective, and you get the added benefit of relaxing the muscles because I'm opening up the blood supply.